Another one. So
Right.
Call this meeting to order, City of Louisiana, Missouri regular council meeting, Monday, April 25th, 2022. It is 6 p.m. We will open up the floor for public comment, consideration of comments from the public regarding any item that is current on the agenda. Any interested party may, upon recognition by the mayor, can step forward and address the council. Is there any citizens that want to address the council? Please state your name.
My name is Steve Henry. Yes. I have a complaint I would like to turn in. And since all my complaints, I approached the mayor. And since all my other complaints have just disappeared into thin air, I wanted to make sure I handled this person. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, there's been a lot of people against each other in towns. Since you've been elected, there's a lot of people that's, well, all I can say is you was elected by the people, by the majority of the people. And there's been council members kind of giving you a little slack here and there. And I feel they should just do what the people want. The people elected you there, so they should stand behind you and at least give you a chance. Now, I've heard them make accusations trying to say you had a hostile work environment. I'm sorry, but the work environment was hostile before you showed up. Luckily, you did have your tape recorder last week, and that's not all I have to say, because we'll be real busy tonight. Thank you, sir. Oh, congratulations on the election.
Any other public comment?
My name's Mike Sherman, live at 811 North 8th here in town. I'm going to talk about some of the ordinance changes that are on the agenda. And I wanted to mention that over the years, I'm an old guy. I've worn a lot of hats. I was the chairman of Local 25 Bylaws Committee and a district committeeman during the 1980 local negotiations for Local 25. So I do have some knowledge of language, and I know what can be done and how it can be done. Although most of my experience was with contractual language. Most of the language that I've had experience with has been done in a way that it is worded to be open to interpretation, so that regardless of the situational language applied in all different situations. This is brought up at the ordinance work study. What happened to administrators on vacation? Although these ordinances, as were stated by the councilman, changes are meant to clearly set the lines of, and I use DMARC, but roles between mayor and administrator, it still gives the impression that the council's underlying agenda is to strip the mayor of as many powers as possible, including access to the city data or computer system, which gives the appearance that there's something to hide. Starting off on section 115-250, paragraph 8 and B, I found that that's in conflict of the RSMO 77.310. Now, paragraph H has a conflict with 310. The other 115-250 in reference to 77-250 and in reference 77-310. You also have section 110-110, which I found is in conflict with RSMO 77.330, 77.340, 77.45, 77.32. Which I believe the council ought to look into this a little bit closer. It appears they may have not done their due diligence when writing this language. That's my opinion, and I'm not a lawyer. But I would impress upon the council that before they pass any of these ordinances, they look at those RSMOs. Because your ordinances cannot supersede the RSMOs. They're the Bible, ordinances are not. Just like when I was a labor rep, the national agreement could not be superseded by the local agreement. My other thoughts on this is,
The council's pleasure. Anyone make a motion to extend Mr. Sherman's time? Motion to extend time.
I'll second.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Those that oppose, say nay.
the only other comment I have to make is between Kelly calling the city attorney, the mayor calling the city attorney, Nick calling the city attorney, what's it costing me? What's it costing the citizens? And I'll gladly put in a sunshine request for the billing periods on the city attorney, what the billing periods are, and make a comparison from last month or last billing cycle to next billing cycle, so that I can know for certain how much it's costing the taxpayers for this fiasco or whatever. If anybody has questions as to what those RSMOs are, I do have some copies. 77-250, mayor to be president of council, both the mayor shall be president of the council and shall preside over same, but shall not vote except in case of tie in said council when he shall cast the deciding vote, but provided, however, that he have no such power to vote in cases when he is an interested party. He shall have the superintending control of all the officers and affairs of the city, and shall take care that ordinance of the city and the state laws relating to such city are complied with. That's 77.250.
Which class of city is that?
Once again, regarding access to data, 77.310 may require officers to exhibit accounts. The mayor shall have power to require as often as he may deem it necessary any officer of the city to exhibit his accounts or other papers or records, and to make report to the council in writing touching on any subject or matter pertaining to his office. Here's another questionable thing, 77.42, city administrator employment authorization. The governing body of any city of the third class, except those organized under the provisions of section 78.430 to 78.640, and any fourth class city may by ordinance provide for the employment by the governing body with the approval of the mayor of a city administrator, who shall be chief administrative assistant to the mayor, and who shall have general superintending control of the administration and management of the government business officers and employees of the city, subject to the direction and supervision of the mayor. That's all I got. Thanks.
What was that last section? The section.
That was section RSO 77042.
You say fourth class city?
I
That
said
was in there exempt.
third class, except those organizations under the provisions of 78.430 and 78.640.
Anyone else from the public?
Good evening, council. Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, city employees. For those of you who don't know me, and for Lord knows I don't know why. My name is Gene Trainer. The only thing I will say is that I think the question that I have is probably for City Administrator Kelly Henderson, because it has to do with Ward 1, and I might get with Bill afterwards. It's on a construction issue about what we got in the future going on up there. But I will tell you that I was a fireman in this city for 24 plus years. And it was the best 24 plus years of my life. And I just want, oh, yes, sir.
So public comment, please, if it pertains to anything on the agenda.
Yeah, okay, sorry, sir.
Otherwise, you have to wait till towards the end of the meeting.
Oh, that's fine. Okay. So I will tell you this, that if I could probably get that thing solved, and like I said, if it involves me talking to Ward 1 councilperson, or Ward 1 councilperson Evans, that I just, thanks.
I appreciate it, Gene. Yeah,
No
so any comments in the beginning of the meeting as pertain to the agenda? Otherwise, you have to wait towards the end, towards the immediate clarification. Then you're going to approach other city business. Anyone else from the public? All right. City clerk, is there any written communication?
No.
City clerk, will you please take the roll call?
Mr. Sedars,
Here.
Ms. Evans,
Here.
Ms. Ardeno. Here. Mr. Mooney. Mr. Peugeot.
Here.
Mr. Roberts,
Here.
Mr. Dolbear.
Here.
Mr. Ringhouse.
Here.
Councilwoman Evans, will you please give the invitation?
Bryce. Heavenly Father, we need to serve our community, to represent all members of our community, and to make decisions that promote the common good. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion that nurtures the bonds of community. We recognize our responsibility to the past and to the future. We seek blessings on our deliberations and our efforts here today. And thank you for being our source of guidance. Amen.
Councilman Ringhausen, lead us in pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Council, any agenda revisions that you see needed? I have a couple. I like to add underneath the council committee reports. I would like to include the city attorney and the tree commission. And also on the second page, under appointments, standing committees, just a point of clarification, that's going to be done by resolution 02-2022. Motion to amend the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Second, all those in favor say yay.
Yeah.
Those opposed, likewise, nay. Motion carries. Approval from the minutes last month. Those minutes are those weren't given out, right? Memory. So we'll have to postpone that in our next regular meeting. Mayor's report and announcements, miscellaneous action items. I would like to turn this over now for Councilwoman Ardeno for service of city.
I'm gonna ask Chief Jones to assist me in this. And I would like to call for Robin Ozilius, Mindy York, Jeff Dock, and Debbie Triplett. You come up here. So I'm just gonna be your lineup around here. So as many of you guys know that the town has become a volunteer facility as of October 2nd of 2020. These are the faces that have kept the town going. They're the ones who come in literally early mornings, late nights, whatever's needed to make sure that every cat, dog, chicken we've had has been taken care of. That was the craziest call ever, but it was pretty cool. And I would really like to recognize these people because without them, we would not have a service that is not really available in any other community around us. So this is Jeff Dock and his family. Well, you got a picture for her. Mindy York. Robin Ozilius. And this Debbie Triplett. Got it, right? Thank you guys so much for all your hard work and dedication, and I appreciate you guys so much and look forward to continuing to work with you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.
We have 3 adoptable dogs and a cat. If anyone's interested.
Any small one?
Smallish dog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That wants to poop.
Yeah, we're all volunteers.
It's not good for your brain.
Well, obviously Kivney can't give her own award away, so I'm gonna present it to her. Kivney serves as our director, plus she does primary animal control calls for the city. It's an invaluable service that we couldn't do without, and we appreciate that because she always does it with a smile. So for your many years of volunteer and community service while managing the animal pound, I'd like to present this to you also.
Thank
Okay.
you. Hi. And smile.
Additional announcements, we also give recognition to Kathy Smith for her years of service. We've had a certificate and recognition ready. She wasn't able to attend tonight. Same with Councilman First Ward Dean Burleson, had recognition for himself as well as Councilman for the Third Ward Chadwick Epperson. So I do want to give recognition to all 3 for their service to the city of Louisiana. I do want to also give recognition to Jim Ross with the Louisiana. He's with the Bank of Louisiana. Well, I'm saying People's Bank now, but he was a member of our Louisiana Missouri Redevelopment Corporation, and we do have recognition for him. He just recently resigned, and we'll be making a motion probably next month for his replacement for that 353. With that being said, I'll entertain a motion to, unless there's any questions about the warrants for the general fund or warrants for the enterprise. I believe everyone received probably a copy of that by email, correct? But if there are any questions or not, I ask council to authorize me to go ahead and sign those warrants. Motion, second. All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Everyone, the next on the agenda is the police chief's report. Everyone received a copy of the police chief's report. Does anyone got any questions for the chief of police? Not hearing any. The next item on the agenda is the fire chief's report. Everyone should have received a copy of the fire chief's report. Does anyone have any questions of the fire chief?
If I could on both, I would just like to invite, other than if it would be possible, if there's anything you think that we should know, that maybe, we don't see by the numbers.
Right.
I don't know if they have any comments. Otherwise, not.
Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda, council committee reports. First off, I want to ask the city attorney, any reports from the city attorney?
Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
So we had discussed me giving a little training. We were hoping to do it at the end of this meeting today, but it was a pretty full agenda, so we decided to pass it off. I sent everyone an email. I heard back, I think, from Tiffany and Nick, who were pretty open. Nick said Tuesdays and Wednesdays work best for him. I also heard back from Rodney, who said Tuesdays and Wednesdays were not good for him, but maybe Thursday of this week. I just wanted to see if the other council members had put any thought into a date that might work for that.
I'm pretty much good anytime, Lindy.
Yeah,
What time of day are you thinking of doing this?
Well, honestly, we will have to notice it as a public meeting, but we could hold it all virtually as long as you think I can provide the materials to you guys in advance. And we could do just Zoom or some type of, probably Zoom is easiest because you guys have a Zoom account. But so honestly, it's if you guys have a time in the normal business hours that wouldn't be disruptive to the rest of your day, I could do that, or just regular, 6 p.m., 5:30, whatever would work for everyone else.
How much time are we talking about blocking out?
Probably an hour tops. I think I can keep it pretty brief. It'll mostly be, how many questions you guys might have for me. I'm hoping to provide the materials to you guys in advance so you can review them a little bit, and then that way you might be able to think of questions in advance.
I can't do Thursday.
This Thursday.
Yes, Thursday I can't do.
Rodney, did you say next Thursday might be okay for you, or were you out?
I am traveling home on Thursday, but if I'm not back, I should be able to do that.
If it's just electronic?
Yeah, exactly. I got Wi-Fi hotspot in my truck. I should be able to get on.
Okay. What about like next Thursday? How does that sound for everyone?
I mean,
fine
don't
with me.
think I
It's
have
okay by me.
Okay, Mayor, does that work for you?
That'd be perfect.
Okay, you just want to keep it at 6 regular time?
Yes, that'd be perfect.
Okay, thank you guys. That's all I have.
Cinco de Mayo, it's Margarita Day.
Oh. Well, hey, I won't object if you guys want to have a drink on hand at home.
All right.
Rodney, probably not you. You'll be driving maybe, but everybody else.
Robert's Rules of Order and Robert's Margarita.
Thank you, Lindy. The tree commission?
Oh, yeah. Tree commission, what we're hoping to do pretty soon here is get our first tree planted. We'd like to put one in Sunset Park. That seems like the easiest place for our first tree to go in. We're hoping to have that end of this week, maybe Friday, Saturday, because that's the National Arbor Day. So I hope to get some news out about that soon. We're working on getting a tree in a bucket or however it is to get it stuck in the ground. And then after that, we're looking to begin getting some planting going on Georgia. I hasten to add that we're looking to keep our utilities protected as we plant those trees on Georgia, but we think that the city really looks good with that canopy going down Georgia. We'd like to get some of that back.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has any questions or if we're doing that.
Okay, so, city clerk, do we have the sealed bids, for the public safety, chair to open?
You can hold off a few minutes. I left it upstairs.
Okay, we'll capture that here in a second. We had a bid opening, that we advertised that we'd open up during our, public safety, committee review. Ordinance committee report.
So the report there is just that we have the fruits of our last committee meeting here on the agenda tonight. And I think we can get into more detailed discussion of that when each of them come up.
Okay,
Unless anybody has anything else you wanted to clarify at the moment.
is there any old business? Memory's not here, so we gotta wait for her to get back. I don't
I'm
believe,
here.
oh, there you are.
Charity went to go grab it for me.
Oh, okay. So, city clerk, do we have any old business outstanding?
Not that I know of, and not that's reported to me.
New business. Tell you what, I'm gonna pause just for a second, see, wait till Terry gets back before we start into new business, just so we stay in order. There any, council have any discussion, go ahead and starting new business? Oh,
Charity,
yeah, see, as soon as I said that, here we go.
We're just waiting for you to say it, that's all.
All right, that's it.
Who's on the call? We applaud.
Thank you.
Councilman Ringhausen opened the sealed bids for the fire truck that the city of Louisiana is selling.
Deadline on this was 4/22/2022 this afternoon. For 2022 bids for 1982 Ford pump fire truck. Two bids. Bid on 1982 Ford, City of Louisiana. $1,250.35. Mike Love Senior and his phone number. Mary, you want to look that, verify? Second bid of $200 for fire truck. Bill Stern, Clarksville, Missouri. Looks to me like the bid of $1,250.15 is to be accepted. It's open. And you'd like to have the council vote on which one they want?
Is that 15? 35 cents or 15 cents?
15 cents.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 35 cents. Right.
Is this that big yellow one?
Yeah, it's.
Oh, I
Sitting back there?
Up above where it said is.
So it is 35.
Yeah,
It is.
Okay. I mean, it's not a big deal.
$12.50 and 35 cents.
Don't argue with
Okay.
the mayor, 35.
Council's pleasure, entertain a motion to accept the high bid of 12.50, 35.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Mr. Love just bought himself a fire truck.
Congratulations.
He's a pretty old girl. Okay. New business, got before the council resolution 01-2022. It's a resolution of the city of Louisiana authorizing the mayor to establish the following standing committees and establish work session meetings of the city council on the second Monday of each month. Whereas the establishment of the following standing committees will promote communications and understanding of issues pertaining to the good of city business. And whereas allowing standing committee reports during the work session meetings of the city council will afford council members and the public opportunity to share ideas and concerns on a consistent and regular basis. And whereas the city council wishes to establish a work session meetings of the city council on the second Monday of each month. Now therefore be it resolved by the city council of the city of Louisiana, Pike County, Missouri as follows. Section 1, the city council of the city of Louisiana, Missouri hereby authorize the mayor to establish the following standing committees. Infrastructure, ground, streets, and sidewalk committee. Public safety and police hiring committee. Ordinance committee. Economic development and tourism committee. Housing, health, senior services, and disadvantage committee. Enterprise Public Utilities Committee. Section 2, the standing committees report to the city council during the work session meetings of the city council to be had on the second Monday of each month. The work session, unless the council changes the date and time due to holidays or other specified reasons during a regular council meeting. Should a single standing committee need to meet on a date other than the scheduled work session meeting, the chair of the committee shall notify the city clerk as soon as possible of the meeting date and time in order for proper notice to be posted under chapter 610 RSMO. Section 3, the mayor may appoint with the consent of the majority of the council, certain members of the council to each standing committee. This resolution shall become effective upon its approval by the council and execution by the mayor. That is the resolution. Entertain a motion to accept. Motion,
And then we'll have discussion after that, right?
yes,
All right, then I'll second.
second. All right, discussion on resolution 1-2022.
So it looks like, since we're establishing the committees, then does that get rid of, I mean, I guess what I'm asking is, it looks like there are some committees we previously had that aren't not really. Finance, budget. Unless that's being pulled into another one. So will something like the finance budget committee then disappear? For this resolution?
So what I would like to do on this, and you're absolutely right, it's not on here. I'm actually wanting the council the whole work session. We might be able to afford that as the council the whole. Do that under with all council. And I may have to get with Lindy, verify if there's any language that we need to specify this. Usually we're getting ready to jump into our budget studies. And typically, whenever we do that, everyone partakes in going through our budget. Now, after that, during regular sessions or work sessions, we may have to include a budget committee. If not, it'd be standing with the committee of the whole. And Lindy, you got any thoughts on that?
No, I think you can, yeah, if the council's having a work session, you can absolutely still discuss those matters, just in the work session as opposed to it being a standing committee. I mean, if it were important to the council to have a standing committee, you could always move to amend this resolution, possibly, I think so. But I agree with the mayor in the sense that you can always handle those issues at the work session too.
Any other question?
Yeah, I got, the police hiring committee, since the council's already that committee, do we need like a second committee for that? Since we also already work on that as a group, just like the finances, do we keep that the same, where it's a council whole, partial?
So let me pull it up. See what I got the phone on it.
If I may, Mayor, Tiffany, I think the purpose of the committee would just be to basically hear hiring and fire, personnel, police and fire issues and bring them to the council as a whole. Just like the ordinance committee typically would discuss ordinance revisions prior to the actual consideration of the council at the regular meeting. So I think the council would still overall have the authority to make any hiring and firing decisions.
I just feel like if it's coming back to council anyway, it could just stay with council. I still get the necessary, but that's the council's decision.
So the intent, as far as the public safety is, and Councilman Ringhausen, you've been on the public safety committee and stuff, and please give any insight that I may be overlooking. But I'm looking from my point of view, as far as for the police and fire department, any public safety concerns being addressed by committee. Any hiring practices. Now, the council may have to clarify with me, and maybe Lindy can as well, as far as if we actually adopted the merit-based system of a police department. But there are state statutes that dictate having a personnel board with some oversight. Now, the council has ultimate oversight of all actions, but it'd be more manageable with a committee to have oversight of personnel affairs, whether hiring, firing, or disciplining, hearing complaints, hearing concerns, and bringing that forth to the council. I think the grievance procedure and processes that we have in place won't negate an employee's opportunity to be heard before council. Have I missed anything or overstated something?
I think it's important to still have a committee over finance, public safety, streets, parks, whatever. It gets confusing for department heads or people. Yes, they got Kelly to go to, but to have a council person in charge of their committee, or where they can just turn to them and say, well, we want to do this, we want to do that. Can you talk to the council about it? The next council meeting, then that individual can relay that information to the council as a whole and start the discussion there, rather than them not have a clue who to go to or who to bring it up. We got a great police department. We've got a great fire department. And they're clicking pretty much on all 8 cylinders. And I like to think part of it's due to the confidence they have in the council and the council has in them as a whole. I would hate to see that disrupted, but there again, there may be some advantages that I don't know of because I've operated under the existing system. and it's worked fine, so. If anybody's got anything they need to say about that, that's fine now.
You said this hiring committee's for police and fire?
So,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. My
Yeah,
understanding is we
the
can't hire.
Public
fire.
safety encompasses both the fire department and the police department. Purchasing trucks, looking at specs. Sitting down with Phil and talking with Phil. And then coming to the council with Phil as, and being here to support him. So that means a lot. As far as hiring or firing, the chairman of the committee has nothing to do with hiring and firing them other than one vote on the council. They can't dictate to them as being police department. Have no authority, no way to dictate to them where to go, what to do, how to do it. It's just an arm for them to have someone to turn to. If Kelly's time is busy during road, it's good to have someone there, whoever it might be, just to have them be the liaison between that department and the council. So
and as far as the personnel decisions, I mean, maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I mean, typically we've handled those as the council and executive session to afford all those involved some privacy. So we're not talking about changing that by hiring and firing. I wouldn't want that to be part of a, I think that they should be afforded the privacy of, discussion, because very well could be, once it's discussed, there may not be the problem that we thought was there, and everybody would go on. So I guess that's my question. Is the intent of this to change how staffing is hired?
So basically, the Public Safety Committee is, as that is stated, is unchanged. The only reason I added Police Hiring Committee is to meet RSMO statutes for a merit-based police department. So that has nothing to do with discipline.
Okay, all right. Yes, I see that now. So it would be more of a hiring clearinghouse before a recommendation would be brought to the full council.
Right.
like a pre-interview sort of thing.
Yeah, if the committee elected to, work with the chief and go through and get candidates, and they want to kind of go through that process.
And we've always had 3 or 4 people on that committee, chairperson of the committee. So, even though we have not really used the 4 of them in any interviews or discussions, because we always brought it straight to the council then, and the council as a whole would discuss that, so.
Mayor, can I clarify something?
Yes.
So the city does not have a merit, it's not formally a merit-based system any longer for hiring and firing. So I just want to be clear that all of the requirements outlined in Chapter 85 for a merit-based system would not necessarily have to be complied with. The overall hiring and firing power would remain with the city council, but I do think that the committee could still, preview applications for possible employees or things like that. I don't think that would be a problem.
Any other questions from council? All right, we have a motion and a second. City Clerk, you captured the names of the motion for the first and second.
Got the second, not the first.
Bill was the first.
Bill, Councilman Sutter. Okay. We'll do a yay vote. All those in favor say yay. And opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay. City Clerk, will you take the roll?
Mr. Sudar,
Yay.
Ms. Evans,
Yay.
Ms. Ardno,
Nay.
Mr. Mooney, Mr. Peugeot,
Yay.
Mr. Roberts,
Yay.
Mr. Gober,
Yay.
Mr. Ringhouse.
Your motion carries. All right, what I got are appointments for our standing committees. Resolution 02-2022. A resolution of the City of Louisiana Council providing consent to the mayor's appointments to the following standing committees. Whereas the mayor has the authority to make appointments to standing committees of the City of Louisiana, Missouri, and whereas the City Council has to consent to said appointments by the mayor, and whereas the mayor believes it is prudent that a representative of each ward of the city is present on each standing committee. Whereas the mayor wishes to seek council's consent for the following appointments to each standing committee. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Louisiana, Pike County, Missouri as follows. The mayor hereby appoints and the City Council hereby consents to the following appointments to each standing committee. Infrastructure. Just point of order, I'm going from first ward to fourth ward. It's up to each committee to appoint their own chair. Infrastructure, Grounds, Streets, and Sidewalk Committee, Nancy Evans, Tiffany Ardno, Ryan Roberts, Rodney Dolbear. Public Safety and Police Hiring Committee, Bill Sudar, Joshua Mooney, Ryan Roberts, Bob Ringhausen.
What was that second one?
Public Safety and Police Hiring Committee, Bill Sudar, Joshua Mooney, Ryan Roberts, and Bob Ringhausen. Ordinance Committee, Bill Sudar, Joshua Mooney, Nick Frigeau, Bob Ringhausen. Economic Development and Tourism Committee, Nancy Evans, Tiffany Ardno, Nick Frigeau, Rodney Dolbear. Housing, Health, Senior Services, and Disadvantaged Committee, Nancy Evans, Tiffany Ardno, Nick Frigeau, Rodney Dolbear. In the Enterprise Public Utilities Committee, Bill Sudar, Joshua Mooney, Ryan Roberts, Bob Ringhausen. The mayor may attend and observe any standing committee meeting, but is not a member of any standing committees. Section 2, each standing committee will elect its own chairperson from amongst their members. Section 3, this resolution shall become effective upon its approval by the City Council and execution by the mayor. Entertain a motion to approve resolution 2-2022. We do have a motion. Councilman Sudar.
I'll second.
Councilman Frigeau, second. Open the floor for discussion.
I have one, I guess, comment as it pertains to me and my role. So my career has been spent about 50% of the time as a city engineer for Northeast Missouri communities, and I do feel that my services as they can apply to the council and help the city are best served if I'm on the Enterprise and Public Utilities Committee. I'll serve wherever, but it would seem to make sense to take advantage of the experience where we have it. I think I would be better served on that committee than I would some of the others.
So some of the thought process with this, just to be clear and transparent with the council, is the council of the whole work studies on the second Monday. Every single one of us can be or should be there if we're able to. And just as well, the public can give input, so can the council members give input during such meetings. So the intent is not to exclude any of the council members individually, but I was wanting to limit 1 through 4 for the ward, make sure every ward is represented.
I think Rodney's more than qualified as far as being enterprise utilities committee that he talked about. I wouldn't bother me to switch with him. You would look at that and consider that. I think it would move Rodney into a position more satisfied to him. And I don't know any more about sidewalks and grounds as I do public utilities, so it wouldn't make a difference to me which one I was.
Okay. Before I address that, I'm going to ask the council for any additional questions. All right.
I have a question. I don't know how to ask it. You have me on Housing, Health, and Senior Services and Disadvantage Committee. Not sure how I can help in any of that, really.
Well, the intent is, again, as council of the whole, that we all help each other out on these things.
So I'm gonna ask a stupid question. If the intent is that everybody's gonna be here anyway and help, why appoint people?
The committees have the opportunity, if they need to schedule a set off time, they have that opportunity to do that with proper notice. So the thing is trying to divide all of our issues and problems within the city into smaller bites for the committees to work on as a team, and to be able to bring it to the council of the whole and work on it at that. Again, these appointments are not designed to divide the council at all. I want the council to be able to work together. That's one of the reasons why I want to do the studies, the work studies on the second Monday of the month. So everyone can be present and everyone can participate if need be. I understand your point as far as, well, why do we have any, let all the members be on it. It's just part of the decorum and good order of conducting the business. Because I will not be conducting the meetings. It'll be up to each of the individuals that's on that committee and whoever they elect as the chair.
So, and maybe I missed it in the first ordinance. So the idea is for all of us to meet on Tuesday and then have the individual committee meetings within this on Tuesday, on the second Monday of the committee meetings within this timeframe, or how are you seeing the committee's business being conducted?
So looking at the 6 committees that we got here that's listed, going through and doing this order, the infrastructure, ground, streets and sidewalks on a Monday. The floor will be turned over to the chairman of that committee once the chairman's been elected to conduct any business of that committee.
So
And we just roll through it.
Well, I mean, obviously we have to appoint committees. I guess I'm a little bit, I was asked to provide where I felt I would be best utilized, and I'm on one of the 3 committees that I said I would be best utilized, so
So,
it doesn't make sense to me to not have people where they would be best utilized. I get it, we'll all be there. But that's my point.
Agreed.
so to bring back the question, because if there's any other questions, that's kind of going back with what Councilman Ringhausen stated. And I'm getting ready to address Lindy about that question, about making an amendment to the resolution. Lindy, you got, what's the proper procedure for making an amendment to the resolution? Since we've already got a first and a second.
Sure. Somebody could just move to amend the existing motion to approve the resolution with whatever amendments. So I don't exactly know which. Is it going to be that Bob is moving from enterprise and public utility to something else?
Right, to the infrastructure.
If I may, the infrastructure and public utilities are the 2 that I've held for 20 years. So my statement on the enterprise public utilities would be the same statement that I would have for structure and grounds. So if you were to move, if we switch there, it will really accomplish.
So put Bob on housing, health services and managed. And then put. you
Like
only-
you wanted the utility.
What do you
Or
think?
economic development, either one.
Enterprise and utility.
Well, water, sewer, and streets.
Well, let's stay on point. We got Lenny, I believe the proper procedure would be whoever gave the first or the second would have to offer up the amendment. Is that
Yeah, I
correct?
think, well, so there's a couple of things. If you're not interested in passing it as is, I think somebody could you guys can just vote on it and say no. Or I think you'd still have to, you probably still need to vote on the amendment as written. So since there's already been a motion and a second. So I think it'd be easiest to do that now, and then it can be, somebody can move to approve it as amended.
Well, as of right now, I'm not looking to change my appointment, so let's go ahead and take the vote. All those in favor of resolution 02-2022, say yay. Those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay, motion doesn't carry. All right. Community and Employee Relations Committee. This is spelled out in ordinance that the council can do this. It is 150.020. And I make the following appointments for the Community and Employee Relations, seeking consent from the council. Councilman Roberts, Councilman Mooney, Councilman Sutter, Councilman Ringhausen. Entertaining motion to approve the 4 members for the Community and Employee Relations Committee.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, please?
The 4 names?
Yes, please.
Yes, it's Councilman Roberts, Councilman Mooney, Councilman Sutter, Councilman Ringhausen.
We haven't had one of those in the recent past.
Not in the past year and a half or 2 years. So to give the council some thought on this. So the community and the employees, Whenever we, as a city council, in my opinion, when we speak with our city employees, we typically, historically, from the top down, listen. This gives an opportunity for employees from the bottom up to express any concerns or issues. Nothing withstanding would be allowed to bring personnel matters to the council without going through the proper chain. But it does afford the council an opportunity to get a sense of how things are going within the workforce. And it also gives a sense from the top down in the community and from the bottom up in the community, a sense of what's going on in the community. So it's a public session, it's the public's opportunity and the city's opportunity to address the committee.
So will there be some kind of vetting of that? Because I know that some personnel issues would fall under the sunshine law for closed session. Will there be some way to, will somebody be looking over that before it comes to that committee then?
Yes, so typically, the committee would be like any other standing committee, would have to follow the sunshine law requirements and so forth as far as proper notice and agenda and so forth. So if at some point the chair of that committee sees the communication going in the wrong direction, they would have to stop that discussion and to make that declaration.
Is there any concern that it might be too late by the time you realize it? I mean, thinking from like sometimes if you make an evidence objection in front of the jury or something, sometimes it's already too late by the time you get it out. Right, that it's already sort of clear what the problem is and what the problematic evidence is. And
So that could be something that the committee itself can actually develop a procedure and work on those issues before they even hold their first open meeting.
yeah, I'd like to see.
Again, it bears to be very careful with that. I certainly don't have an objection to having a committee to which employees can go to if they're taking grievances towards it. We need to be very careful to protect, one, the person that has the grievance, but also the person, if they're filing a grievance, if they're filing it against somebody, that's, again, you're gonna get the first volley of information, and the parties involved have the right to privacy. So we just want to be careful, because I get some.
No, I understand the concern, and this isn't something that I dreamt up. This is actually in ordinance 150.020. And I believe the intent of the ordinance and the intent of the committee is to build better relationships between the community and our employees. Not necessarily to be a grievance procedure before the council. Lindy, you got any input on the discussion?
Yes, I think, just to reiterate, I think the intent and the purpose is more of a policymaking committee. So I don't know that it would necessarily be, I don't think it would necessarily be appropriate to be submitting general grievances that need to go through the employment side of things, but I do think it would be an area where community issues and employee relations policy-wise could be discussed to the council in terms of bringing that to the full council to discuss like possible legislation or updates to personnel manuals, things like that.
In other words, Linda, you're saying that it would be in our best interest to say to the employee, if the occasion did arise, if there was any disgruntlements, that they should not go over that with us, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think any official, like, employment complaints will still need to be handled on the personnel side. And so the city has a personnel manual that discusses all of that. So the committee should just be aware if word of something like that is happening, it might be most appropriate to suggest that they handle that through the appropriate personnel procedures.
Any other questions from the council?
Do you mind if I just read the ordinance in? I
Yes.
think that gives us a clear idea. There shall be a community and employee relations committee, which shall be a standing committee of the city council, which shall support policies the committee believes to encourage and support strong relationships with the city's employees, constituents, and committees in the community, including but not limited to festivals, fairs, and street collections. I don't know, sounds almost like it's I don't know, for employee retreats or something.
Honestly, sounds
Anyway,
more like
that's,
something we
that's
would
the
use
scope and
to,
purpose, yeah.
it kind of sounds like something more we would use like with the Bluegrass Festival coming up, if they would address that committee before planning an event, really. Or Color Fest itself or something like that.
It's sort of broad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that's where they would go with their inquiry, would be that committee.
Yeah.
And that's why I put it on the agenda, because I really just want to bridge our community and our employees.
I know Jody's been coming to you personally to ask questions and things like that, instead of doing that, to give the council a full opportunity or the committee itself to bring up the issues and things like that.
Any other question on that? I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the community employee relations committee as constituted by the mayor.
As first, second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say yay.
Yeah.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Animal Control Committee. Again, this is spelled out in an ordinance as well.
Mayor, my next one is infrastructure, ground, street, sidewalk.
But we're on this page, you guys, right here.
Oh.
So I've been reaching out and I've gotten quite a few people to willing to participate being on the animal shelter control or the animal control committee. This will be a standalone committee following the guidelines. It's on the last page of the document sent out, a couple weeks ago or a week and a half ago. So meeting monthly, not during council committee meetings, 1 or 2 council members and 2 to 4 citizens may be members of the committee, but must follow ordinance. And the members will select their own chairperson and a secretary of whom will keep minutes of the meeting and also comply with RSMO 610. I'd entertain a motion to nominate 2 council members. I believe I can make a motion to nominate, I'll nominate Tiffany Ardno to be on the committee. Anyone else have any other motions or willingness from council members to be on the committee?
Nick, I mean, I wouldn't mind you being there too, just for the fact.
Yeah,
that-
we've been on the ordinance. Now.
Yeah.
I can do
I
it.
feel like that'd be appropriate. I
So,
nominate Nick for no.
yeah, so Tiffany nominated Nick, I nominated Tiffany. And then I'm going to appoint Cassie Cordes, Karen Allspaw. I apologize if I butcher your names. Andra Roberts, Aaron Stewart, I've also spoke with Dr. Blackmore with the local veterinarian, and she is willing to assist in an advisory role.
She currently does.
So she says she cannot be a committee member, but she will act in an advisory role.
Have you reached out to Tammy Smith for, she's currently on there?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah. Her health, well, I reached out to Tammy, and there's been a few other names as well. So those, did you get that memory?
I got Kate Spurs, Aaron Oswald, and Aaron Stewart. Who's your third?
Chandra Roberts.
Are those folks here tonight? Yeah, I saw Cassie. Yeah.
So with those named, I would entertain a motion to accept the Animal Control Committee. Got a motion from Councilman Sudar.
My name is Anthony Grant. I have a question. Is the animal control committee specifically for population control only?
I'll entertain this for a second, but it's really out of order. Okay, I just don't want to be disrespectful for you asking the question.
I apologize.
So it is actually, it's over all policies and procedures of the animal shelter and for the animal control officer. So it's everything they have, but anything that we conduct by ordinance is done through the council. They do not have any authority as far as what's provided to them by ordinance. So we got any further discussion on this?
I have one more question. You and I had spoke about me continuing to be the volunteer animal control officer, and we haven't got to that part yet. Would this be a conflict?
No, no.
So this is a question I have. This is a committee that we have on the ordinances that we have not had staffed in times past.
We've had it staffed, there's people, like you said, has gotten ill and had fallen off, and we've just hadn't reappointed. Well, right.
Right.
Can I say one thing, to Anthony Grant's question? I think.
Yeah.
I think was your question about whether the animal control replaces like a TNR policy?
Well, it's just when he had messaged me earlier, he had used the words animal shelter committee. And I was asking for clarification if the word control is more about population control than anything else.
So they changed the ordinances in the past. They used the word animal shelter, animal control. It's intertwined a little bit, but yes.
All right. Thank you for the clarification.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say yay.
Yeah.
Those opposed say nay. Animal Control Committee passes. Tree Commission committee. Currently, Nick Bergeau is on the committee. I would recommend council maintain Nick as the appointed tree commission.
Happy to do it. Ever?
All right. Entertain a motion to approve.
I make a second on that.
Got Councilman Ringhausen with a motion, Councilwoman Ardeno, second. All those, any discussion? All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Opposed, say nay. Passes. Historic Preservation Commission. We do currently, Councilwoman Evans is on the commission. You're the primary, right?
I'm the liaison.
Yeah,
You're the
so
liaison, okay,
I act on that as a private citizen.
okay. So, okay, so you got a term. So I'm willing to accept any nominations for the liaison for the Historic Preservation Committee from the City Council.
I nominate Nancy Evans.
I second.
First and second, and I'll make that appointment. All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Planning and Zoning Commission, open to nomination.
Make a nomination of Rodney Dolbear.
Got a nomination? Rodney Dolbear,
I'll second.
and
Say
second.
anything about that.
Are you?
Yeah,
You want
I actually got an email. All right, so I'll make that appointment to Rodney Dolbear. All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, carry. You're on it. Okay. Appointment of officers. And I listed everything that we have. I got a folder from all of our appointments in years past and so forth. And I want to take the opportunity to go through this. I got good news. There's really not very much to change on any of these appointments, but there is some point of clarification. I want to take the opportunity to share with the council and with the public. The city administrator, Kelly Henderson, was hired via contract by the council May of 2015. It is a 4-year contract that automatically renews every other year thereafter. So any termination by either party in writing would have to occur 12 months with 12 months notice. So if you don't have a copy of this and you want to see it, I'll let you know. The big thing about this, the original contract was spelled out as far as what the annual salary would be, for year 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then from thereafter, it's however it's adjusted by ordinance, through the budget. So the only thing that I would put out there, and I'm not looking to make any changes or anything like this. The only thing I would put out there for council's consideration, this is somewhat a binding contract that 3 administrations ago has put this council. So typically, that's not a good practice. Something that I would offer the council to consider is looking at a new contract or a new appointment. It's whatever the council's pleasure is. But just keep in mind, in order to do anything, you have to give 12 months notice. So an example would be, let's say, hey, we want to do a new contract, brand new. We would have to give notice 12 months in advance to say we want to work on a new contract. Okay. The only thing about that would be if you're looking to curb binding future councils on an automatic renewal. So looking at other cities, that's always our option to do, and that's the council's pleasure. My intent of bringing it up is so you just know exactly where we stand as far as that goes. And if there's any questions, Lindy, you might be able to clarify if you're familiar with the contract. If not, I do have the contract here and we can kind of go through it if we need, if anyone has any questions.
So you're just looking to clarify what the current terms are, that it's, that it was 4 years, auto renews every 2 years after the first 4. And that there's a 12-month notice period.
So right now, and this is just hypothetical, right? So take it hypothetical. Let's say the council was displeased with the current city administrator. We would have to give 12 months notice now. And in order to terminate the contract. All right. Now, if we don't terminate it now and we get to next year, it automatically renews for 2 years. Regardless. So then again, you'd have to give 12 months notice and you still would have, 12 months of the contract left that you'd have to pay out. And that's just a rough explanation of it. like I said, I'm not looking to make any personnel changes or anything like that. I just want the council to be aware of what the contract is. And if you don't have a copy of it, I'm not asking for any action tonight. I'm not asking, I mean, I have no plans of action. Just to make the council and the public aware of what the status is and how we do this, okay? So that's the only intent of that, unless you want got any questions. Lindy, are you familiar with the contract itself?
Yes, I have reviewed it.
Did I misstate anything?
Well, the only thing that I would say technically is, I believe it's still an at-will contract. So I think that the employee could, or I'm sorry, the council could, in effect, terminate the contract. However, there's various provisions that would need to be complied with if that were to be the case. So the notice provision would just stop the renewal.
In other words, if we were 8 months before and wanted to give notice, we could terminate it at the 4th month of the new term. As long as we had complied with that notice requirement, which at the moment he's saying is 12 months, yeah? We would not be stopped, precluded from terminating the contract. It's just that it would automatically renew for those 4 months before the 12 months came, right?
Well, I think the most important thing is termination of the contract without the notice period, I think would require a payout under the contract. I would need to make sure that, I'm not sure that the reverse would be true, that if you give the 12-month notice, it wouldn't require a payout. I think that that's probably right, but I would need to review it a little clearer.
But by payout, that would be a separate contractual term, and that wouldn't be like, we'd have to pay the remaining 20 months of the contract, right?
Yeah.
Because if it's at will, we'll still be able to terminate with 20 months left, and a payout would have to be a separate contractual provision, right?
Right, but it is a separate contractual provision, so.
Exactly. And so it wouldn't just be that we'd have to pay out the remaining 2 years unless that is specifically what the provision is, right? For the remaining 20 months, I'm sorry. I don't know if that made it any clear.
So it depends, there's specific requirements in here that would, I mean, Nick, if you want to look at it, do you have a copy of it in front of you?
No, we do not have copies.
Okay.
Can come back because like
Yeah,
I said, this is
yeah.
informational.
Yeah, I'm not sure the
We've got quite a few other
details.
things to go through.
So just point of order, I just wanted to bring it up to the council and not really dive real
Yeah.
deep into it. And I will, and Kelly will, I mean, there's nothing, that we won't share about this. So, if it's something that we want to discuss at a later time or after everyone has a chance to review it, that's fine. The only reason I brought it up, I want the council to be aware of the contract and the provisions thereof. So.
Yeah, and I'll get a copy of it later if we have any questions.
Okay. All right, city clerk, move to retain Memory Gonzalez as our city clerk.
I think she's currently, I think those positions are currently indefinite, aren't they? Is she up for renewal or something?
I think they're indefinite, but we still have to accept it every year. Every so many years.
Yeah. So we got a motion from Councilman Ringhausen. Got a second?
I second.
Councilwoman Ardeno. Any discussion? Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Those opposed say nay. City treasurer, I move to appoint Charity Leslie as city treasurer. I seek a motion.
I seek a motion, or I make the motion to approve Charity Leslie as the city treasurer.
Second.
Okay, so Councilwoman Ardeno first, Councilman Goldberg second. Any discussion? Hearing none.
I would just say that with the caveat that all these are just routine reappointments and that it doesn't affect the indefinite nature of any of their appointments.
Now, that's spelled out in ordinance.
See the reappointment.
Except for prosecutor.
So any other discussion? All those in favor say yay.
Yeah.
Opposed, like sign. Carries. I'm appointing Philip Petroci as fire chief.
Motion to accept.
I'll second.
So Councilman Ringhausen made the motion.
Now,
Councilman Roberts made the second. Any discussion?
yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to jump the gun there. They do their own elections, correct? We're just pretty much accepting their election result, correct?
Right, and then and I'll be honest with the council, there might be a dual role in process you're talking about, but I believe this is a process that we typically do for the fire chief's position. All those in favor say yay.
Yeah.
And opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Code enforcement.
Oh, we skipped city attorney.
Oh, I'm sorry. City attorney, it's my pleasure to introduce Tessa Euler. Is she in here?
Well, that's prosecuting attorney.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna go ahead, if the council don't mind coming out of order. Tessa, we've had you waiting all evening. So we'll jump into the prosecuting attorney, if there's no objections, right? Okay, so I'm making an appointment. Excuse me?
I was gonna ask the municipal. You're talking about the city attorney?
Prosecuting
No,
attorney.
the
I just got a little bit of a speed bump going on right here, so. No, we're talking about prosecuting, so we just skipped down, and I did skip the city attorney, so prosecuting attorney, I'm making an appointment of Tessa Euler. She is currently the assistant prosecuting attorney for Pike County. She is a resident of the county. She does have a background from Cole County and also with out of Fulton, Missouri Public Defender's Office, and also out of Marion County up in Hannibal, Missouri Public Defender's Office there as well. One of the things that intrigued me as speaking with her was some of her background and some of the drug cases that she worked, especially out of Cole County, and knowing some of the issues that we have in our community. I believe she would be an asset to our community as a prosecuting attorney.
Have we had any other applicants for this? No offense, Tessa.
I had one recommendation from Montgomery County, Weston. I believe it's Mary Weston. That's who Keith Freeze has brought to me about. So there's two that I was looking at.
But is there with municipal prosecutor and a state prosecutor, like in a dual role? Is there a conflict, so to speak?
Sorry.
As far as not favoritism, but moving one case, municipal case, possibly into a state case or whatnot. It doesn't seem proper to me. Can you explain that, or?
It is up to either the state prosecutor or the municipal prosecutor to make recommendations or referrals. Since I'm already doing that, I refer cases back to the municipal prosecutor. To me, it doesn't feel like a conflict since I'm already doing that in another role. Where the argument.
But you could have a case that you might feel should be moved. And then we would be out of the picture. Yes.
Essentially, that could happen, yes.
I
believe your former Louisiana prosecutor was also a state prosecutor, so.
Maybe that's why it's former.
It could be.
That's also why we separated the two positions.
Yeah, I mean, I think there needs to be a gap between the two positions there.
Where was Keith prosecuting? Montgomery?
County now. And I did bring copies of my resume.
I had met, I got Mary Weston, the name that you had mentioned. And had very favorable comments for that, and she would not be doing a dual role on the state side and the municipal side. And very favorable comments from Harmon, the police chief. And the people I had visited with highly recommended her for that reason, that she is municipal and not doing a dual role, state and municipal. So that's the one reason I feel that it should be that way.
Especially given the opportunity to have it that way, especially given the opportunity.
I'd like to nominate her.
It's my appointment.
So then if we don't.
Right.
Now, so is there any policy where, because I know that it's you and Alex both. Is there any policy where any cases you refer would have to come from Alex? Or the other way, that he would have to? Because I guess my worry is if I suppose more on the state side, if you're already assigned a case and then it gets sent, you want to send it to municipal, but then you sort of have to refer it to yourself, maybe you'd be limited that way. I don't know how often those kind of referrals happen with this.
So far, all of the cases that I've considered referring back actually have been Bowling Green. I haven't referred any back to Louisiana yet. But I always have to run that past my boss, so.
So Alex
He's
is
gonna
involved.
follow all of my referrals.
So speaking of Tessa, and why I chose as well, I've also have spoken with Judge Barry and also with Judge Flynn. And also I've spoken with our chief of police as well, if there's any concerns or issues. And outside of the point that you brought up as the potential conflict, Lindy, is there any concerns that you are aware of?
Honestly, no. I think there are a lot of other places in the state, especially municipalities that have moved their muni courts to the county courthouse, similar to Louisiana, that have a similar arrangement. So I honestly I don't foresee that there would be any conflict.
If I may, along with that, I have heard very good comments about you also. Nothing negative, it's just a hang up I had on the dual role, basically. So you answered that and I appreciate it.
I'd like to know that too as well, and I have no personal concerns with Tessa. I work with her someone regularly. I have no personal questions here either, of whether she's qualified or able to perform the job.
I see.
All right, I entertain a motion to accept the appointment of Tessa as city prosecutor.
Make a motion.
Councilman Sudar made the motion. For a second.
My main worry is just whether we need slightly more consideration. I know we want to move this so that we've got someone officially on for this next month.
We tabled it till the next meeting.
I wouldn't want to go to the next meeting. I would want to have a special meeting.
Well,
Because I think what, Tessa, do you know when the next date is? Isn't it the 20th? Yeah, you told me. that. Okay, sorry.
I have it in my. This is 20th.
I would note, Tessa is acting by the appointment of Judge Flynn until we get the new prosecutor, right? So we're not totally without someone. We will in fact have qualified counsel in the meantime. Though I do think we should, if at all possible, get that appointment done by the 20th.
But I don't believe that appointment falls under filing tickets and all of that. It was just. I'm sure he's filing your tickets at the moment or responding to.
Could we
correspondence.
revisit it at have a special meeting first, or that second Monday?
So we're getting a little bit out of order, just to bring it back in. We got a motion on the floor that we can either second or we can let it die. With a second, we can floor back up for discussion. And then
Is that Josh up there?
Yes, I'll second that.
Yeah,
we
I
have
think Josh is on.
Welcome, Josh.
Hello.
Turn your camera on, Josh. Say it again.
Do that.
like you said, I'm over.
Sounds like we're in his pocket.
There he goes.
There he is.
Councilman Mooney made the second. All right, open the floor for discussion.
Be able to speak back to the
Well, I have. Exactly. I have not. I have not. So to that question, one of the, besides her background and so forth, she is a Pike County resident. I do like, if typically in the days past, you might have been around during that time. I don't know.
Watch out.
But, these positions were elected. You had to be a voting resident of the city and such. And I do like the idea of kind of keeping stuff, within our county. At least if we can do it within our city, maybe we can draw her in and she.
I could offer her the opportunity, you always interview all your candidates. Opportunity to bring her down to at least your out.
So I'm not saying anything bad about Miss Weston at all. But based on the information that I've obtained, I strongly feel my appointment is a strong candidate. I mean, if the council, it's a simple consent or no consent vote. I understand that, but there's no process or procedure to go through any other type of a process currently. So, I wish if the council had some thoughts beforehand, to give some foresight to this first time I've heard of anyone talk about Ms. Weston. Whereas I've spoken to,
First time I've heard your.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
I think we need a little more time to become better informed myself with the motion on the. I would, on the motion on the floor myself, vote negative with the intent, and this very well may be the way that we go. But I would like to have a little more information.
So would it be possible to develop between you and Alex, an internal policy at the Pike County Prosecuting Attorney's Office for how to manage referrals? I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly what it
Referrals
looks
really
like.
aren't that common, so
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I just know it was a concern. Systemic concern, but.
All right, any other questions from council? You have a motion and a second for prosecuting attorney Tessa Euler as appointed. All those in favor say yay.
Yay. Yay.
Anyone like sign and the nay?
Nay.
Take the city clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Sardar,
Yay.
Ms. Evans,
Nay.
Ms. Ardno,
No.
Mr. Peugeot,
No, with the caveat, it's not about Tessa.
Mr. Mooney,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Nay, and I'll second him. It's nothing.
Dolbear,
Nay.
Mr. Ringhouse.
Nay.
All right, motion falls. Go back up to the city attorney. Wendy, I just want to let you kind of have an opportunity just to give a rough overview of the working agreement that we have appointing a city attorney.
Sure. So we were appointed by the mayor with the consent of the council in 2019. As part of that agreement, we entered into a services, basically a contract for services, what we call an engagement agreement. That basically, well, I think the city code says that we're appointed also for an indefinite term. The contract specifies that, sorry, my dogs, of course, are being loud right when I'm talking. The contract specifies that we have a city attorney rate and we have a general rate for all matters for the city. So all city meetings, general correspondence and communication with the city is typically billed at that city attorney rate. The other specific tasks or projects are billed at that other rate. Greg, do you have any, sorry, Greg's also on here and he might not have barking dogs. Do you have anything else that you want to add? He's not listening, but if anybody has any, oh, there he goes.
Yeah, I'm here. No, I don't have anything to add. It's we serve at the pleasure of the mayor and the council, and the engagement agreement sets out the terms of those. And the intent with the city attorney rate is to ensure that we're providing, basic services to the city every month, economically, and then for additional needs, litigation and such that requires more than the hours per month provided for in the city attorney rate, then those other rates kick in.
Any questions from council? Code enforcement. I'll make the appointment of Jeff Windmiller. Entertain a motion to accept the appointment. Got Councilman Ringhausen.
Second. Sorry.
Councilwoman Ardeno, second. Any discussion? All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Those opposed, like sign. Carries. City collector.
Mayor, did we need to take any action on
The
this,
city
the city attorney, or since that's my contract, are we just leaving it as it is?
I haven't, I'm not making an appointment yet.
Okay.
I'm not taking any action on that.
Okay.
I wanted
just
to
clarify.
clarify for the council what the current status is.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
City collector, like to appoint Jonathan Finley as city collector.
Make a motion.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Ardeno and second from Councilman Ringhausen. Any discussion? All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Opposed, like sign. Carries. Municipal judge. I'd like to make the appointment, Mylan Berry be appointed as municipal judge.
Second.
Got Councilman Dolbear and Councilwoman Evans seconding. Any discussion? All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. The Animal Control Officer, I've reviewed this. I do have an appointment of Seth Murray as Animal Control Officer for an appointment.
Yeah, he's here. Is that a paid position?
What's,
For animal control?
no, it's not. Seth Murray. He's right here. If anyone's got any questions of him, but,
I guess I have questions with respect to how this fits our control operation works. Is that?
Well, that was my biggest question is it was a paid position or are we compensating them in any way for it?
so here's how the process goes. I want to get to the discussion so we can ask those questions and everything else. But it's going to require a first and a second to get into those discussions. It's an appointed position and the council can,
Well, I'll make a motion to appoint Seth Murray as the animal control officer.
okay, got a first. So we got Councilman Dolbear with a first and Councilman Sodarth as a second. I'll open the floor for discussion.
I'm just how this works with the way our current animal control operation, what would the duties be and how they fit with how we're currently doing things?
So the way I look at it, as far as it's spelled out in ordinance, exactly what the animal control officer does and doesn't do. I know the council has made arrangements as far as, we've actually had Tiffany, Ardeno, councilwoman. This ain't no disrespect for you.
No,
The
I don't feel
workload
that.
that you've done. I mean, accolades as far as director of the chamber. You've taken on a lot of roles here, right?
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah.
And I applaud your family for letting you do that. So it's not in any way disrespect.
I honestly didn't take it as disrespect, to be honest, sir. I was supposed to always be in this position. The one we had left us, so if we could find another volunteer who's willing to do it, so be it.
And this is exactly that. It's a volunteer position, right? And if there's any way that we can spread that out amongst people, and that's why I wanted to bring that animal control committee back together. That's why I wanted Tiffany on that animal control committee. So I'm really wanting someone that is currently, under our personnel system, which Seth is, under our personnel system, to be able to assist as needed in the role of animal control officer, dealing with animals or the like. The responsibility of the ordinance enforcement still falls with our PD. It still falls there. So he's as a volunteer and as an assistant, in that role, he can actually, and I had some discussions with him because, there might be situations where, we don't want conflict of dual duties and stuff that's going to be a conflict to us. In worst case scenario situation, it's no different than when city employees volunteered for the fire department. And when the bell rang, if they were able to roll and go to the fire, that's what they did. I kind of view this with Seth doing the same thing.
I have another question. Okay, so I have all the confidence in the world in Seth. I really do. I like Seth. He's a great guy. I know he works through the day though, and there are calls or things that happen throughout the day. Would the council or the mayor be opposed to having a secondary or a backup position for that? Because like today, Seth was working, I had to take a dog to the vet. That's part of what we do as a job duty. Is that a possibility to still, he be the first foremost go-to person, but then have an additional?
I believe that question's already answered. And here's how I view it as being answered. It's an ordinance for the position, right? But however, with the animal shelter or animal control committee and a chair in policy and stuff, they can actually make, if something needs to be done in ordinance form, that committee can bring it before the council, is what my thought process is on it. The bottom line, every one of us has to work together and try to come up with solutions with what's going on, so. We have a first and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, do you know what you're getting yourself into chasing these dogs around town? You ready to say yes? I think we're ready to vote.
And pigs.
Yeah, they're not getting fixed. Forget about it.
All right, we'll take the vote. All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Those opposed, like sign. All right, motion carried. Kind of I don't know if this is the right terminology, point of order. Does anyone need to go to the restroom or take a break? All right, it is 10 till. We'll come straight up on the hour back. We'll recess for 10 minutes. Our records haven't addressed that. Back in recess, or not recess, but back in, whatever. Sorry. Yeah, grade school. So we got Nick and, the only one we're missing. So, pretty important on the next subject, so may consideration and wait till he returns.
Probably got stuff.
Do we have a sergeant at arms in the room? Go find Councilman Frejo.
In the restroom, sir.
Figured that's what it was. Very.
I will find him.
All right, thank you.
He gets caught.
Wait,
Okay, come on.
100% success, he's right there.
Thank you.
You gave me a reason to talk about law, about the way contracts works. I was standing over there too long talking about law. Yeah.
No problem. We'll go ahead and get back into session. Next on the agenda is proposed ordinance amendment repeals. Councilman Frejo, I'll
Mayor,
turn the
quickly,
floor over to you.
if I may, for a point of order, I would just like to clarify something for the record.
Yes.
Tiffany, I just want to make sure, was your intent then to resign from your position as humane officer
Yeah.
with the new appointment of Mr. Murray?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, can that just be stated for the minutes, please? You can just say that you resign.
I resign as animal control officer and give that awfully awesome gauntlet Seth Murray.
All right, thank you.
All right, then I guess we'll head right on through to the ordinances. Unless anybody has an objection, I'd like to take the first two out of order here. I'd like to discuss 7165 and 7168. That's assumption of office and transfer of office. And Mr. Chairman, I believe these two were some of the ones that we're discussing at the beginning. And points there are very well taken in the sense that, let me see if I can. Oh, I got such a mess of paper in here, I don't want any more. All right, 5 here. So what this was intended to address originally. And the one that we first drafted, assumption of office, was basically the question.
Whoever's on Zoom, can you please mute your mic?
Councilman, should have known.
There you go.
So what this was meant to address was it first came up with the question of the ordinance committee. But then it seemed like since we had switched our council arrangement, that it used to be the main meeting on the second Monday. And then it was switched, I believe, under Marvin to the fourth Monday. And that left us with some possibilities of having a gap. And so the first thing that we were doing to address that was to try to unify the time when we'd actually get into office. So we could have at least our first crack at appointments and things, that kind of stuff together. When I talked about it with Lindy, she said that she thought this one came really close to appearing to limit the language of which statute was that? I'm check 77, see if I recognize it. Mike, do you have the text in front of you? Which one? Otherwise, I gotta see how much better I got left on my computer. I didn't go up to this one. Much you mentioned, I thought it was 30. Or Lindy, if you have it in front of you.
I think,
But anyway,
do you mean 77040, Nick?
it's the one that says that you take office when you're elected and.
Who shall hold office until,
duly
yeah,
qualified.
until their successors are elected or appointed and qualified. It's in 77040 of the revised statute. It's also just a tidbit in the Constitution, so.
Yes, and so that's the one we thought it got too close to limiting that language, so we threw that option out. And then the second option was instead of moving the assumption back, move the first meeting forward, and set up a special or regular meeting that would take place early on that time. But generally speaking, it's sort of bad drafting to limit yourself to have a meeting because truth is stranger than fiction, and sometimes you might end up having just a meeting where you don't do anything. You just have to show up because the ordinance says. And so ultimately, we decided not to proceed on either of those because I think our immediate concern there is addressed by the one that'll come up in a bit on the standing committee. That'll be 7160. So both of these were listed on the agenda for no action. I just wanted to explain why it was that we had discussed them and then decided on no action. So we can put those aside unless anybody's got anything else. Okay, then I guess we'll take the rest in order. We got 7163 coming up next. That is a clarification to the chief of police duties. We're looking to put some stuff in here to clarify what the role is about. And so for those of you who attended the ordinance committee meeting, a lot of the provisions I think will sound fairly familiar because we're looking to do a similar thing and spell out what's going on. As I like to tell clients, if I have the opportunity, we don't have contracts because we're not friends. We have contracts because we'd like to remain friends. That the clearer things are spelled out, I think the easier it makes things. So I suppose I'll make a motion then for a first reading of an ordinance to amend chapter 200 of the municipal code of the city of Louisiana, Missouri pertaining to duties of the chief of police.
Second.
All right, we do have a first and second. Any discussion on the proposed ordinance before the first reading is commences? No discussion? All right, you may proceed reading the first.
So since it was publicly posted, you still have to read the whole thing?
Just read it by title if you already done it.
All right, I'll read the title again. So an ordinance to amend chapter 200 of the municipal code of the city of Louisiana, Missouri pertaining to duties of the chief of police.
All right, so we do have a first and second. I apologize for the order of things. No, if there's no other discussion, all those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Opposed,
Sorry,
say nay.
sorry, Mayor, ordinances have to be roll call.
Okay. All right, so we got nay, so take the roll, please, city clerk.
Mr. Sudar,
Yay.
Ms. Evans,
Yay.
Cardinal,
Yay.
Mr. Mooney,
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Joe,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yay.
Gobert,
Yay.
Mr. Ringhouse.
Okay. First reading, I'd like to open the floor on, before we give a second reading on this, if I may.
Sure.
Without any objection from the council. So going through this, so on this ordinance specifically, correct me if I'm wrong, but this was not discussed at the ordinance committee?
Well, this one was drafted by city attorneys, but I didn't have a copy that evening.
Okay, and so I just want to be clear and transparent, and so please don't take offense. From, it's not a questioning, I just want to understand the process. So someone, you asked personally yourself, asked the city attorneys to draft this ordinance?
Yes.
Okay, and what led you to draft, to do such? I just want to be transparent. Why did we do this?
Pretty similar to the reason for the city administrator that I heard there had been some questions between you as a new mayor and the chief of police on exactly what the roles were, exactly what the division of duty was to be. And so as I see where there's some conflict or discussion over what the roles are, it's up to council to define that.
Okay, so the point that I'm asking, you had a discussion with the chief of police?
Indirectly, yes.
I mean, how did you find out? I'm just trying, I know you and I haven't had a conversation before this was drafted. That's why, so it's based on what someone said or what someone's discussed or there's concerns. I just want to get to the root cause of the point of it being presented to the city attorneys to draft. Since it didn't come from the committee, it didn't come from the public safety committee. I'm taking it by perception, please correct me. The perception is that we have an employee that has a concern about the mayor, and they reached out to you with a concern, or someone reached out to you with this concern. And then you took it upon yourself to contact our city attorney to draft this ordinance proposal. Is that right? So now I'm asking, since I wasn't afforded an opportunity to explain any of my discussions that I've had with anybody, I'm just wondering why that was negated during the process. It just seems like we don't follow a set standardized procedure, because even though it may be allowable, it's not very transparent when we do such things. And my goal as mayor, one of the reasons why I ran, is to try to bridge that gap and be as transparent as we can. I personally will not be offended if I've done something wrong. I'll be the first one to eat crow. I'll be the first one to do it. But I do want to be transparent, because we're paying someone, whether it's $155 an hour or $300 an hour, that is a point of contention that this council may want to consider process on how we do that. If we get 8 individual council members and then the mayor and the city administrator or the police chief reaching out to our city attorneys for legal advice or to draft things, it doesn't seem like it's very conducive to pulling together as one team. And my goal is to pull together. I'm not arguing the points of the clarification one by one, even though I can probably go through and why is this in here? What is it addressing? What is it concerning? All right, what's the issue that arose from this? I can tell you that I researched third-class communities or cities in the state of Missouri, and there's 50 of them, right? 20 of have a population somewhat close to us, between 2,000 and 5,000 population. And then out of that, there's 6 that's right on with us, 2,500 to 3,500. So I pulled those 6 and I got all their ordinances pertaining to the police chief and the city administrator. And if we're talking about the police right now, the most I've seen is 1 paragraph. And we have a document that is, 2 pages long. It's just, it seems to me, it's a little much without good consideration as council of the whole, whether it's through a work study or whether it's through the public safety committee. We're just now being asked, all right, here's the ordinance. And it gives the parents, everyone knows why we're doing this, but the public don't know why we're doing this. And at least we can slow it down a little bit and get this out there into the public and have an opportunity for our public safety committee and our ordinance committee to really dive into it during a work session. So I would request, it's the council's pleasure, to go ahead and approve this first reading. And I mean, I can't tell you how to vote, but I would like to put off the second reading until the next regular council meeting. So the work study committees actually review this and share it with the public, and the public could have a little bit of review. I do know it meets all the requirements. It's been posted in an ordinance. We can do a first reading and a second reading. The only reason I asked the council to do this, to work together with me, is because if you do go ahead, and it's not a threat, it's a concern of mine. If you do go through the first reading and second reading and I veto it, it's still gonna wait till the next month anyway. I'm just asking for the council to go ahead and wait for that second reading next month, but give the opportunity for the work studies to kind of have some input to it. So we can eliminate perception and have transparency. That's the only thing I'm asking.
Well, in terms of perception, I think clear that up now. I mean, do you think there's something in here you'd like to discuss? Or do you personally need more time? Do you think it's?
Yeah, I mean, it is what, 8:15 right now, and this is one of what, 3 or 4 that we gotta still go through.
Sure.
And let alone have another second reading upon it. No, I mean, I'm done discussing them. I mean, I'm ready unless y'all got any other input. I'll open the floor back up to you, but I think that due diligence will prevail during a work study session on the second Monday next month, and then have the second and final reading at the regular session next month.
It was properly posted, correct?
I said that. That's not a question.
My question was because if it was properly posted, anybody had an opportunity to review it and bring questions forward, they could have.
So at the ordinance committee meeting, this was not discussed or brought up. The public had no opportunity to give any input on this. And even tonight, except for at the beginning of the session, all we heard was statements and concerns. There was no working environment with the public or even with myself. Yes, can we, bear down and start going through this line by line for a first reading? We can. Y'all can vote first reading and the second reading. It's council's pleasure. And I'm not looking to subvert the authority at all. My goal is to try to bring some continuity and transparency and working together with the citizens. And I just don't want any misperceptions out there. I do not know if there's any dire straits to this ordinance. It's not, is it an emergency? Is it, there's nothing in this ordinance that negates anything that would constitute that, is there?
Well, I suppose I suppose I would turn around and ask, you're talking about misperceptions. What do you think is being misperceived about this?
Well, I already gave you an example. I've gone through 6 different cities, similar signs, and this is starting to detail out specifics. All right. All I'm saying is, without going through this with the public and with even the Public Safety Committee that has some oversight to the police department. And unless, I guess, unless you formed a consensus before the meeting, the public isn't aware of that consensus. They just see your action. I'm just trying to say is let's share our consensus with the public, not just looking at our actions and responses by passing this. I'm not saying not pass this. It's your all's right. You can do 1 and 2 readings. That's your all's right. It's my right to veto it, and it'll be till next month anyway. But I don't want to say I'm going to veto anything. I want it to move forward. I just want it to move forward at a steady and insightful pace for our community and our citizens. So it's very transparent. Evidently, there are some misconceptions. Evidently, someone from a city employee has approached you to approach the city attorney to draft this. So there is, I didn't get that. I didn't hear about it. No discussion was held or expressed to me about it. I'm just now seeing I won't use a negative terminology, but I'm just seeing the reactions to it right now. So that means I missed the boat somewhere. I mean, I may be fully culpable to all this happening. My goal is let's resolve that. And so whenever we do move forward, there's nothing hidden. No surprises. That's the only thing and I'll yield the floor back to the council. We have a motion and a second for first reading. All right, what I mean,
We're not really clear what the misperception. What I mean this for is to clarify what the duties are, and I don't see how it could be terribly objectionable to be clarified.
All right, let me point it this way, if I may. And you don't have to answer. I don't want to put you on the spot. Have you had input on this ordinance? Councilman. Okay. Councilman Roberts, have you had input on this ordinance?
Not directly, but I mean, reading it, it's all logical duties of the chief anyway. So I don't see anything in it that gets my attention to be worried about. Put it that. And well, 3 paragraph.
I would also note that this one was not drafted by me. This was drafted by a
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't see anything that's earth-shattering.
This is the clarification of duties.
I think it's a fine ordinance. I mean, it's spelled out clearly. I also, from a timing standpoint, if we pass the first reading and bring the second reading to the next meeting, I don't feel that that's a deal breaker. I feel pretty comfortable in the language in the ordinance. But I work for cities that every ordinance went through a first and second reading that took a month. Sometimes that time penalty is a problem. I don't see that. Certainly think the ordinance is fine and it will help clarify, not just for this administration, but administrations in the future.
Wish we could take a vote.
City Clerk, what's our standing right now with this bill?
Did first and second and roll call for approval on the first reading. We're waiting on second reading.
So the first reading is
already approved.
We will pass and approve the first reading.
Is your plan, maybe you can't say, is your plan to veto it and try to push it to the next meeting anyway? If we vote on it tonight?
I'm requesting that you give the second reading, and this is on, not just on this ordinance. Council, not just on this ordinance. If an ordinance requires a first and a second reading and it's an emergency and it's dire, just like Councilman Goldberg stated, that typically it's a 30-day span between the first and the second reading. If it's going to inhibit a project or inhibit something that's going to cost the city or the citizens anything, I would, automatically first and second reading, get it done, declare it like an emergency reading, even though the ordinance is spelled out. We can do a first and second reading. I'm not going to present ordinance, and I do not want to utilize the veto as a compliancy tool for the mayor to stretch it out for 30 days. I don't want to make it like that. I really don't. And this is one of those things, just in my opinion, and I may be wrong on this, I think if we afford the opportunity for the public safety and the work study with the ordinance committee coming up on the second Monday, and then follow up and pass it on the regular council meeting at the end of the month. There's nothing in here that said that really is going to change anything anyway, right? It's just clarification. I just want to give perception to the citizens out there that we are doing the due diligence and being open and transparent with it. And they have an opportunity. The last ordinance meeting that we had, the ordinance meeting, it didn't go very well, in my opinion. I think anyone here that witnessed it saw that it didn't go very well. I think as a committee of the whole during a work study and this study, it will go a lot better and smoother. And it may be a simple thing. Public opinion does matter in these types of circumstances. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to change this any iota. It's just, let's just put it out there and let the citizens, see what we're doing, that we are transparent and there's nothing that we're going to hide about this.
I know that a couple of citizens contacted me and I sent them all the ordinances that I thought were going to be on here. So they never, or at least one who said, I suppose that he had other citizens who were interested. So I assumed that he was passing those on, he didn't tell me those people were.
Right.
They have it open up to the floor. And that's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's open discussion. I mean, it's that you brought this up so you can present for a second reading if you want to. That's your call. It's any of the, that's your call. You presented it. I'm not denying you your right to enact your role and your authority. All right.
Here's my opinion. I think this is coming back to the council in a month, one way or the other. I think it's more palatable if we approve it, take it to the city, and we bring it back.
Sure.
That's what I think. But it's clear that it's coming back one way or the other, and this will be better from a standpoint of, I think that I would rather, as a councilman, I would rather bring it back on our accord rather than having it sent back some other way.
All right, then let's take that. I'll make a motion to table the second reading until the next meeting.
Second.
First and second, first reading from Councilman Peugeot, seconded by Goldberg. Table the second reading till the next regular scheduled council meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Those opposed, like sign.
Okay.
Do we need a vote if we're just tabling an ordinance?
Nope,
Then
that's
they-
fine. That's fine to be voiced.
Voice on table, yeah.
And if I could make a suggestion, Mayor, if if the council is intending to bring all of these to the next meeting, you could just do a first reading of all of them by title in one motion to save time, if that's your intent.
We're all gonna get a first reading, right? So I'm gonna get the page up, we'll do a first reading. on all of them.
There's one that's gonna have to. The handicap parking spot.
Oh, okay, yeah, so you could just do 7164, 7166. And that's it, and then we'll need 2 readings on the other one.
I think the other two went. The ordinance committee, right? Are we instituting a policy to only do 2 meetings to pass anything? Except something that's urgent?
That's not in place. That's the council's, in the ordinance, it's not like that, right? I would like the ordinance committee to look at that. The council can elect to do anything via an emergency reading 1 and 2. Mayor Wallace enacted or had that ordinance enacted to do 2 readings in one setting. And but right now it's not in place. It's not even a question, but that's my personal intent. Would, afford the 30-day window for first reading and the second reading, plus the council elects to declare an emergency or otherwise, but that's not what we have in the books right now.
I mean, I would prefer it to be the exception rather than the rule. But that's certainly working on a case by case basis.
Right.
I would say that, the ordinance committee wasn't exactly organized, but I would say there was vigorous participation. I don't think anybody can deny that. See?
So just
All kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah, so standing committee was there, city administration was, actually, the handicap parking was not. That was something that just proposed by Kelly as I believe like a.
refill.
Citizen request.
Yeah, citizen request, just sort of a, freeing up of those spots again. That's actually the one of the remaining ones that hasn't gone through the ordinance committee. I was just sort of assuming that there'd been enough complaints that's why it was brought to us and put on for them. Lindy, then can we do the first reading of all 3 at once and then do the second readings individually? Or is that only if we're passing it?
No, you could do that, yeah, as well. You could do the first reading all at once and then second reading separate.
Get all these very excited looking people out of here. So I would make a motion for a first reading of bill number 7164, an ordinance to amend section 110.110 of Title I, the Government Code of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Louisiana, Missouri, relating to standing committees. And also bill 7166, an ordinance to amend section 150.50 Title I, Code of Ordinance of Louisiana, Missouri, relating to duties. That duties of the city administrator falls under that section. And then finally, bill number 7167, an ordinance of the municipal code of the city of Louisiana, County of Pike, Missouri, to repeal ordinance 02-2017 and remove handicap parking.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nick,
Yeah.
can you add by title to that if you're doing them by title?
By title.
Okay, thanks.
So we have Councilwoman Argono for the first, or excuse me, a motion.
Nick motion.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
okay, I'm sorry. I'll tell you what, I haven't had any.
I read for so long, it didn't feel like it anymore.
Yes, it was. We have a first and second, any discussion? Hearing no discussion, city clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Sudders?
Yay.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Cardinal?
Yes.
Mr. Mooney?
Yes.
Mr. Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Dober?
Yes.
Mr. Ringhouse?
Yes.
All right, now one by one. I make a motion for the second reading of bill number 7164, an ordinance to amend section 110.110 of Title I Government Code, Code of Ordinance, City of Louisiana, Missouri, relating to planning committee.
Second.
First and a second. Clerk, did you hear?
Sorry.
Yes.
All right. Open the floor for discussion.
So I'll say what this is meant to address is generally any time when there is a gap in standing committee appointments, such that the previous standing committees will be able to continue to act as the committees, and any that are not filled, any seats that are not filled can be filled at will by the mayor. And so it divides the power there, that if the council doesn't approve, then the mayor gets to fill seats at their will until such time as we approve new standing. And I believe, Mayor, you had proposed the possibility at the ordinance committee meeting of giving the mayor power to dissolve at their option the standing committees. I did not integrate that into the current ordinance because I think it breaks a balance of power. What I saw is a good balance of power. But if the rest of the council disagrees, then we can get that amended, take it back.
So to that point, that probably should have been brought up before the second reading. So I do have concerns with this. Some of the language in here, superintending control.
Oh, no, this is the standing committees.
Oh, 7164. Oh, sorry, I apologize. Any other questions from the council? City clerk, take the roll.
Mr. Sundar.
Yay.
Evans.
Yay.
Mr. Chardonnay. Mr. Mooney.
Yes.
Mr. Bell.
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Bill Bear.
Yes.
Mr. Rittenhouse.
Yes. All right. Now moving on to 7166. This is similar to the chief of police one, but with respect to the city administrator. I guess I'll make a motion for the second reading. Move on to discussion. I make a motion for a second reading of bill number 7166, an ordinance to amend section 115.250, Title I, the Government Code, of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Louisiana, Missouri, relating to duties.
Second. I have a first and second. Discussion.
Let's see. Oh, we did discuss, maybe, and I believe Mr. Sherman brought it up. The question of superintendent control. I know that the statute uses that language in at least 77.042, empowering city councils to have a city administrator. It also uses that language in 250, which is when you brought to my attention about the mayor being, what was the language? The mayor being the president of council, I believe. Not sure why they stuck that in there, but they did. And then I believe, Mr. Sherman, you were pointing to 77.310 as the similar language about superintendent control, right? I think that was the one that I looked up just now and saw. So
To papers and records.
oh, that's the accounts. Papers and records. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to speak out.
No, that's all right. I appreciate it.
77.042.
Yeah, so it was just that one in 250. I think it had that same superintendent control language. So my opinion on that is if there's a contradiction there, it's in the statutes, unfortunately. Not just in the ordinances in terms of, and part of the reason for having that section B was to define superintendent control. Because 042 first says assistant, then says all superintendent control, and then says at the direction of supervision, right? So it appears to me to be flip-flopping on that matter. And so we've included a list there of some things. And then at the end, it says, and other administrative needs. And I mean that administrative needs to be clarifying the nature of the list, right? As a matter of interpretation of this section of our code, that would clarify that the whole list is relating to administrative duties. So it doesn't affect, I don't think, the prerogative of the mayor to be setting policy, right? So this aims that the city administrators implementation is meant to achieve. So there's retaining day-to-day control, and I did take the word all out. I agree that it sounded like it was doing more than I meant it to. I took that word out second. And then the last section is just about that section H was about just the movement of information. And I would also note that this section is called duties, and the section after it, I believe it's after, is 260. 115.260, that was an entitled powers. And I specifically wrote these into duties to also help to make clear that this is clarifying a division, not adding extra power to the city administrator. So certainly if there's something in the language here that you're concerned is taking away the power of the mayor or otherwise improperly increasing the power of the city administrator, that's certainly not the intent here. And I would be happy to hear them. And if there's something that is really concerning to us, we can take it back to committee with the chief of police.
So I would recommend to take back to committee as far as recommendation. And I'm prepared to kind of go through some of the concerns that I had with the language with this in the contradiction with RSMO, and it may be my own personal interpretation, but I have spoke with Lindy about this a little bit as far as, you know, the mayor has the superintendent control of all the affairs, business of the city, right? So when we take a look at section B and we look at the superintendent control that the city administrator shall have responsibility for the best and most efficient use of city resources, including office space. All right. Let's talk about this just for a second. Now, there's a reason these words are on here because there's concerns that's been expressed. Again, without my participation in the exchange as far as what's transpired. So I'll give you an example, right? I was sworn in on a Monday. The Friday before, I approached the city clerk about getting sworn in by the city clerk. I made it be known that if the certification's not done, you know, by that time, I'll probably get sworn in by the judge. So on Monday morning, I'm become aware when I go downtown to go speak with the city administrator about, you know, me getting sworn in and we're just trying to, you know, have a feel for each other because we haven't spoken to each other, period. And it came up during discussion that he's moving his office up to the 3rd floor. And I said, why are you moving your office up to the 3rd floor? He said, well, you're going to be a full-time mayor and you're going to be down here all the time. I can probably get more work done without interacting with the public as much by moving up to the 3rd floor. And I stated and had the conversation with him. And I said, that's wrong. I said, I do intend on spending a lot of time in my role. I'll be able to be reached 24/7, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be spending all my time at City Hall. I said, the first problem I have with you moving your office up to the 3rd floor is you're sending out a message to the city employees that there's a split and divide between the mayor and the city administrator. I realize, I think all of us realize that the election and everything else was very contentious and so forth. I said, that sends out a wrong message. We haven't even sat down and talked about this. And then I said, the second problem is the public perception. City administrator moves up to the 3rd floor and so forth. So it's public perception. I said, now the third problem is, because during our discussion, he said, well, the city attorneys will have an opinion on this. And as far as whether or not I can move my office or not, because we're a city administrator form of government. I said, well, technically, we are a council mayor form of government with the city administrator. It's not an elected position. We don't have a city manager, or we do not have an elected city administrator. I said, but Kelly, why do we want to spend $155 an hour to have about, ask about whether or not you had authority to move your office or not. We need to work together as one. So, you gotta understand, when I go through and I'm looking at this, the next thing is best and most efficient use of city resources. Yes, the city administrator runs the city, day-to-day operations. I'm not gonna run the water department, the street department, or anything. Office space, I really don't care where the office space is at. I really don't, except when he brought up moving his office upstairs. Ever since City Hall's been in this office, we've had a mayor and an administrator's office right there next to the city clerk. We do not need to show a divide. Okay? Meaning as far as where everyone else sits and, the police department upstairs versus downstairs or whatever, I really don't care. That's his role. But I did give an opinion about where his office is. So the next thing is personnel deployment. Yeah. I'm not going to tell the police department how to deploy their personnel or any employee. That's the city administrator. I agree with it. Equipment assignment. Yes, I agree with it unless there's an issue. And guess what? If I have an issue with it, guess where that's coming? That's coming to this council. I mean, if he needs clarification, if they need that authority, it's already there. But now the next one is computing and data storage resources. I really do have a problem with this because I have made multiple requests, and it's documented, to access our accounting systems, to be able to look at accounts payable, invoices, look at the warrants, work, actually lay eyes on this. And this is within the state statutes. It's within my authorities with the state statutes and with our city ordinances. Now, I've already had one insubordination issue with that, and I want to bring it up, but Lindy's well aware of it. The problem I have is what I have been given to try to comply with my request are PDF files. People can pick and choose what I see instead of looking at the network and the database itself. Well, I've had discussions with Kelly. I said, give me read-only access. I don't want to put anything in there and I don't want to take anything out.
Mayor, I would like to comment on that. You actually are set up. We need you in your office when Craig is here so we can show you and make sure it's working on your computer. You have been set up since last week.
This is the first time. I appreciate that. This is the first time I'm hearing it.
And now, as far as Daffron, you are not yet set up on that. I am working on that with them. I actually talked with them Thursday about it.
So my point being is that now I see it in the ordinance as far as talking specifically about computing and data storage resources. And with what the city treasurer just mentioned to me is all new on my ears as it is to yours. Storage resources, well, that's data storage resource, and other administrative needs of the city in order to achieve maximum effect to the public benefit. So, so there's two pieces in there that really I disagree on section B. When you start talking about office space being, in general, yes, I agree with that. But now, as far as the superintending control of the affairs of the city and finances, and as far as, what authority I have bestowed upon me by the Missouri statutes, I believe that one, and whether or not the city administrator moves his office, specifically, I'm going to get specific with it, or computing and data storage resources as far as having accessibility and within the statutes of looking at all accounts and records. So bottom line is any issues that comes from this, whether or not I agree with the city administrator or don't, and vice versa, our recourse is right here before this council. our recourse is, if we're gonna do anything new with our records management and stuff, I'm sure it's gonna involve money, it's gotta be budgeted and everything else. And have some insight and proposals and bids and everything else through normal process. So that's the problems I have with section B. Now, section H specifically, the only real problem I have with this is the dual explanation you have at the end to explain the ordinance, statement in section 8 in the first place. This is true. Now, if I just read this verbatim, this is to recognize the dual aims of facilitating the supervision of the mayor and maintaining an orderly chain of command for clear and effective implementation of city policy. The language is not very clean. I think the language can be cleared up. I believe I understand the intent to a degree. I just disagree with the language of it. And I've had discussions with Wendy, and I don't know if she's prepared to share, our conversation about the language.
Yeah, good. I would say I guess we'll start with H. Since that's mostly just a policy statement, I would be fine scratching that and just leaving the other language. Because yeah, that's just for the policy of showing that why I call it facilitation is trying to get the information clearly, show how it moves.
So just for the sake of, I don't want to rush anything, and it's council's pleasure, not mine. But any changes like that, we've already got our first reading on this. So, I would ask to table it, go through the work committee, and maybe Lindy can provide us with guidance, since we've already got a first reading on it, how to proceed.
I think we would proceed by, if that was our choice, by just tabling it. That triggered like other ones, that was our choice.
Sorry, I think that there could either be a motion to amend the first reading to make any deletions and then also a second reading, or that could be accomplished at another meeting as well.
So we can clean this up at our works session, second Monday.
Seems like we can clean it up now, or we can clean it up after. Just as a matter of what I understood.
Yeah, I think it can still be cleaned up either way. I think there could also be a motion to amend now if we were just talking about the deletion. Excuse me, the deletion and the renumbering, but
I'm also looking, just transparent, I'm looking at section B a little bit. I just want to be sure that.
Yeah, so then that was, I'm gonna respond to B as well, that in terms of the office space, I think ultimately was resolved in exactly the right way, that there was a discussion between you and the city administrator, and he left his office right where it was. And then in terms of computing and data storage resources, yeah, I don't think that gets at all at your supervisory authority to see all of the files, be able to look at them and be able to, see what's going on to audit and supervise in the way that I believe the mayor is intended to do. And since the city administrator is otherwise the purchasing agent under C, I would think that determining who our providers are for cloud services or buying new computers and stuff and all of that kind of thing. Or even, we don't have any cameras or anything. Certainly we've had, auditors and such come in. Well, then he would control those cameras, I guess is what I'm saying. So I never paid attention. Those are the kind of things that I was thinking about, and I didn't mean to get into the supervisory authority whatsoever.
Why could we not make a motion on this? The table, the work study.
We already have a motion on the committee.
We can keep going. We can, that's how we handled the first one, that's the pleasure.
Certainly.
Hold on. Hey, clerk, what's the standing on this ordinance?
Sitting on second reading, motion by Nick, second by Dolbear.
All right,
That's where we're sitting on.
so Lindy, the only way to table it now is if any of the two motions were withdrawn. Is that
No,
correct?
I think a motion to postpone to a time certain or to table would take precedence over the other motion, so you can do it.
Okay, so we can entertain a motion to table.
Yeah,
Councilman Sutter, motion to table.
I'll second.
Josh Mooney, Councilman Mooney, second. Any discussion? No discussion. Those in favor of tabling, say yay.
Yay.
Those opposed, like sign.
Nay.
Okay, take the roll, please.
Sutter. Ms. Evans,
That just
I think
confused me.
To say yay.
Oh. Unless you change your mind,
Yeah.
please do it. Do what you want to do.
Nay.
Ms. Evans,
Nay.
Cardinal. Nay. Mr. Mooney,
Yes.
Mr. Peugeot,
No.
Mr. Roberts,
Nay.
Mr. Dolbear,
Nay.
Mr. Ringhouse.
Nay. All right, guys. So we do have a first and a second. Any further discussion on the second reading? No further discussion. Go ahead and take a roll.
Mr. Sutter.
Nay.
Ms. Evans,
Yay.
Ms. Cardinal,
Yes.
Mr. Mooney,
No.
Mr. Peugeot,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Dolbear,
Yes.
Mr. Ringhouse.
Yes.
All right, the second reading has passed.
We are almost there. Like, to start discussion here, I'd like to make a motion for the second reading of Bill 7167, an ordinance of the municipal code, city of Louisiana. Oh, yeah. The city of Louisiana, county of Pike, Missouri. Oh, there's no title of this one officially. Yeah, an ordinance of the municipal code of the city of Louisiana, county of Pike, Missouri to repeal ordinance 02-2017 and remove handicap parking.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please take the roll.
Mr. Sutter.
Yay.
Evans.
Yay.
Cardinal.
Yes.
Mr. Mooney.
Yeah.
Joe.
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Ringhouse.
Yes.
The second reading has passed and is duly approved by the mayor. All right, next item on the agenda is miscellaneous business, including comments from the public on any matter pertinent to city business. Anyone from the public?
Corey Anderson, and I just, when you all had prosecutor up here and deciding her fate a while ago, or tabling her fate, whatever. From working with her personally on a professional level at the county level and as a city officer, she would be an incredible asset to this city, no doubt about it. And that woman's a go-getter, and there's something to somebody from our area that know the people she's prosecuting. Because she doesn't have to relearn the who's doing what, who's the repeats. And yes, there's a file, but you learn. And you don't start from scratch all over again. You know, the business of law enforcement and prosecution and all that. The repeat offenders, that's, we don't want the repeat offenders back out there. We want a prosecutor that's aggressively gonna keep them off the streets, so our law enforcement can focus on other things. And having a good working relationship, most of the people in here chose to vote in Chief Jones as the chief. The mayor sat here and told you he had a conversation with that same chief that you guys voted in and had his confidence that she would do a good job. For her to walk out of here saying that that was awkward and embarrassing is embarrassing to the city as a whole at this point, like, because I don't understand what would make her not good enough. Because if you want to say a dual role, I love having Mylan Berry as our judge and the state level judge. It's a dual role. And everybody was quick to just jump on that one. There are times where there's going to be a dual role. Sometimes you might have a police officer that's also a county officer. Or an officer in another town. People wear different hats. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be professional and do it the right way. So, I mean, it'd be great if y'all could consider somebody it's good for the position, has knowledge of the people that she's working with. You know, she's already got a relationship with your police department. She's already got a relationship with your judge. All that's, you don't have to make that all over again. It's there. It's set in place. It's not starting from scratch. And I don't know the other lady that was never heard of her. She might be wonderful. But you also had another wonderful person standing right here that was more than capable of doing the job. So thank you all again for your time.
We make any comments or?
Straight up, I don't like you. But that girl, she stood here, she was embarrassed. She was. She told me so. She is a good prosecuting attorney. I work with her because I go to Celebrate Recovery. She is nice. She is on top of her game. Y'all should have at least took her resume. She was offering them. So at least think about this little girl, but she's smart and she is on top of her game. Thank you.
Introduced myself earlier, I'm Seth Murray. I just, growing up in this town and having other family members be a member of the council, you know, we're sitting on right now. When I was young, I have an insight to some of the ordinances that we're even discussing tonight on the dual reading and stuff. That was written that way specifically for emergency cases or even things more like this, the handicap and things. But as far as pushing through dual readings just because we can in one meeting, I don't think the citizens, at least the ones I talk to, appreciate that. So.
Mariah Polston, I'd like to speak a little more on what Seth said. I don't feel that it's appropriate as a citizen for suddenly a large ordinance amendment to be brought up and not have a full public reading. It was available in some obscurity somewhere. I never heard of it before tonight. But I also don't feel that in our city code is the place to start dickering over when we're going to have chief do this or city administrator do that. That is a place for our employment contracts, not in the city code. To get down, and if you get down to it, you're going to have 500 pages of when the chief of police has to check the air pressure in his tires, and the code isn't the place for that. And I really would like to see you all start working together. It's really disappointing to try to bring ordinances to tie people's hands and keep them from doing their jobs. The mayor wants the best for this community. I want the best for this community. We all want the best for this community. It would really brighten everybody's day to start seeing everybody work together and bring our grievances to each other before we start taking taxpayers' dollars and going to a lawyer every 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hey, everybody, it's me again.
Just, so do you, you guys, let me know. You want to be recognized.
speak up.
No, just once someone's done talking, if someone wants to be recognized, no, you stay there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if the council wants to be recognized, ask to be recognized.
As far as what we passed, we're not taking anything from him. He has access. If he doesn't like a decision made, he comes to us and we get him what he wants. As far as Miss Euler, we haven't hired anybody. We just want to hear the other side and then make a decision.
I wasn't speaking to that. I understand completely. If there's multiple applicants for a position, you should hear all applicants. I'm speaking to changing the city code to dictate what the mayor or the city administrator or the chief of police can or cannot do. I think that needs to have more public discussion and more public input rather than a week's decision between one citizen, one council member, and a lawyer. That's not the entirety of the community.
We didn't necessarily change anything. It was just mostly clarified. It was already written the way it was. And the only reason that we brought it up.
It was one page.
Let's not get into exchanges, you know, I apologize, I mean,
No.
if you, so I don't want to automatically go back and forth. Whoever needs to speak, I want to make sure the other person's done talking before the next one's recognized.
I do think though, that's an important point of clarification, that if you look at the 3 pages here, the only parts changed are the parts that either are underlined or have a strike through. And we didn't delete anything, we only added some stuff that's underlined. So there's a half a sentence in A, then we added B, and we added H.
But still,
So- So, Dean, I'm going to say one thing.
Go ahead, Mayor Carter, you're fine.
So the big thing about this is, as I was trying to bring it up a little bit, and I'm not the best communicator there is. I'm not the best communicator. Biggest thing is perception, whether it's real or misperception, it's still perception. And the whole intent of my statement of saying transparency was basically to afford the opportunity and the time and the due diligence. And that's even the wrong word, because I'm not going to say that, Nick, you didn't do due diligence. You know, maybe you didn't gather all the pertinent facts, but still, my intent is let's squash the misperception. And the only way we can do that is in a meticulous motion as a whole, for the whole council to move that way. You know, I'm sure there's good points in here and there's some reasons in there, but there's just as much as there's reasons and points and clarifications, there's concerns. You know, and all I'm trying to say is let's balance that out and show the public that we're balancing this out and give them input on it. And then we'll take the vote. The misperception is when we give something a first and a second reading, one setting as posted last week as far as the ordinance, or if you reached out and came down and grab a copy, it just doesn't really sit well with a lot of people. And that's my concern. I want us all to be on the same page. And I'm going to stop that right now because I know Mr. Trainer's been waiting for me to stop talking.
Actually, Mr. Trainer's Earl, he lives in Centralia. I'm just Gene. So in sitting on my first actual council meeting, I haven't been down to one in over 20 years. I think Bob still had hair coloring back now. I'm not sure. No, I'm just kidding, Bob. Anyway, every one of you guys on council, every one of you people on council, I've known this man most of my life. I've watched Tiffany grow up in this town. Rodney Dolbear, I've known him. His mother was my principal. Ron Roberts, I watched grow up in this town. My dad was in the American Legion with Bob. And my great grandfather was Nelson Tucker. And I think I could speak for Paul Tucker if he was here right now. The only thing he would say is, we cannot have prosperity without unification. No more backdoor meetings, no more nothing. You all are a capable council. And at the same time, I would implore the citizens to get behind the city council, to ask the questions. And what Tim Carter said about transparency and what I watched Mr. Roberts do at the last meeting, which I was in tears, I was proud of you. You know, you're welcome. You know what? We can move Louisiana forward. It won't never be like it was back when Mr. Sutter was growing up, or Rodney, when you wanted to park a place on Saturday night. You better bring your second and your third car down there and get it, because you want to go get your main car, you're going to park it out there at Walmart. Okay? But you know what? We could put our own positive chapter on this city by working together. I'm proud to be from Louisiana, and I'm hereby offering to be a volunteer for the Emergency Services Committee, for Police and Fire, and on the other committee for the Street and Water. So our men and women, we can sit there, move forward, find the monies to get them the tools to do the awesome job that they're doing right now. I served this city 24 proud years as a firefighter. God bless you, folks. Thank you.
Thank you, Gene.
Any other public comment? If not,
Okay.
yeah, my name's Steve Henry. As far as the city moving forward, the city's not too good a shape right now. I mean, financially, the city's not really too good a shape. The street's pretty bad shape. Everything. City administrator's been administrator for 8 years. He was administrator for at least 4 or 8 years before. I mean, nothing's changed. Don't you think we ought to try a new city administrator and try to change and see if we can get something working? I mean, the man's had more than enough chance to get things done, and nothing's done. The streets ain't really that good that even was fixed. Just if you want to change, something to think about. That's all I got to say.
So to address that, again, with my experience in this industry, in this field, Louisiana is fortunate to have somebody in a position that exists nowhere else. We have a city administrator and a board of public works director. That's 2 positions. The way that our current city administrator came up through the ranks, he came up on the crew and got to the position that he's in. He's charged with maintaining the same amount of streets, the same amount of water, the same amount of sewer that we had 40 years ago when we had 4,500 people in this town. We are all charged with, squeezing the turnip for as much money as we can to keep that maintained. Now, Steve, part of what you're saying is, yeah, we've got some bad streets. In my opinion, it's certainly not as a result of any of the people from the city administrator down to the guys in the crew that are working. It's none of their responsibility.
The city workers in this town.
That's my opinion on that.
The city workers in this town do a really good job. The employees, they have to put up with a lot of stuff on the street departments, the water departments. I worked for the city for about 12 years at the water plant. I know how the city works. I know how things are going. I'm just saying, if the man was elected for change, and nothing's really changed as long as with the city administrator we've got, nothing's really changed. Nothing else has gotten worse. The streets, like I said, that was done, that was 2 years ago, they're almost as bad now as it was when they was done. Georgia Street, the concrete's all chipping up. It's not the workers' problem. It's whoever's in charge. It's their responsibility. That's all I got to say. Any other public comment? Vicki?
Vicki Cadwalder. And I try to listen and take in all the information. And I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. And I see I've got to count 8 people sitting in front of me, and every one of you, I believe with all my heart, want good. There are personality conflicts. I get emotional whenever I talk, and it's important. But there are personality conflicts. But I firmly believe, I've watched every one of you guys sitting up here giving deep thought to things, taking your time to think about it. And I hear snickering. I hear on both sides. I hear snickering. I hear negative comments on both sides. And we are just now newly in a new administration. You know, I think that whoever would be in power is always going to have conflict. So I think that everybody needs to give this council and this mayor a chance to start flushing stuff out, because I think you really will be able to do it. I honestly do. And when I'm watching you guys go through all these ordinances and trying to figure out the details, I don't think that's wrong. So I also don't think it's wrong to give second readings. Let's pause, let's slow things down. I don't think it's wrong to push things through at one meeting. It's out circumstances. So I guess what I'm just saying is that I respect you all. And I know you're each trying to do your best. And I know our townspeople really do want what's best. And sometimes we may not know, like I might not have the same experience as some of my fellow citizens. So I might be blind to some things. So I listen very carefully to what people are saying, because there can be some truth in some stuff. And I want to flush it out. I'm praying over it. I'm praying over our town. I'm praying for truth. And I just ask everybody else to do the same and show respect to each other.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vic.
No further public comment. You got media clarification? No media
I
clarification?
got something there.
Okay.
When was the SR 716 street posted? Was it on the 21st? For the ordinance?
It would have been posted at least by Friday.
Should have been Thursday, the 21st. I'm asking this because
So the point on this, I was aware of this. The point of this is typically anything brought before the council. A councilman can bring something to council if they bring it by Wednesday at noon. The only other person that can bring it to the agenda is the city administrator or the mayor. And now we got until Friday. And I could have played technical on this and not brought this up on the agenda. But I'm not going to create friends by denying items to be on the agenda that needs to be discussed. So to your point, I put it on the agenda.
Okay.
I believe also I sent an email to the city clerk, including.
That was on Thursday.
This draft, no, that was Wednesday at 11:58 that I first sent that to the city clerk. I believe the city clerk is directed to be sent to. And so then we continued with discussion of that Thursday, and I think maybe even a little into Friday, but the initial sending of it to memory was on Wednesday to get it on the agenda, and then the public posting has to happen by Friday, which is the 24 hours before, right? So like, and I think the posting of the agenda, so like, I think there's 2 requirements. I think the ordinances require to get it on the agenda, it has to be brought up by Wednesday at noon. But then I think the sunshine law requires 24 hours notice of public posting. Was my understanding of that. I think we meant both of those. If I misspoke on that, Lindy, please let me know. But
So Lindy, my understanding is the mayor sets the agenda and all requests to be on the agenda has to be submitted by Wednesday at noon.
To the mayor rather than.
The proper record keeper is the city clerk.
Yeah.
But I should be CC'd on that.
Yeah.
And well, it's not an issue. I put it on the agenda anyway. Like I said, I'm gonna be transparent and I'm not gonna try to do a technicality on something like this. Now, I'm not sure that this one ordinance is gonna get my approval. It may wait till the end of next month, but just to be transparent. Any other clarifications?
City administrator, Haas has been here. Do we know the city administrator? That's.
Yes, he is off on vacation and I I approved of that.
That was all I had. Thank you.
All right, with that being said, I would consider a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of revised Missouri statute, section 610.021, subsection 1. First and second, all those in favor say yay. Those opposed, like kind.
Point of order on that. That needs to be a roll call vote, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
thank you.
me. Sorry.
Okay. So, City Clerk, will you please take roll?
Mr. Sutter. Stebbins.
Yay.
Cardinal. Yes. Mr. Mooney.
Yeah.
Joe. Mr. Joe.
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Bill Bear.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Adios, bye, everyone.
For now.
All right,
can always
give me
come
a
back
few
if there
minutes,
was-
we'll push pause and put